You don't need a lot of money to get really, really wealthy.
You need to have a financial plan or you're going to end up broke. This happens to so many entrepreneurs.
If you buy a farm, you go up and look, every couple of weeks to see how far the corn is up.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time!
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but if you create a schedule that inspires you daily, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Tony Robbins.
I wake up every morning. Espresso keep me going. I wake up every morning.
What should I be, going all in on? Millennials that are starting businesses, like many people in our community, they're, going all in on their business, and they're sacrificing profit for growth. So they don't have that much spare change. What's your advice there? What are your thoughts?
I'm really glad you asked me that question, because every entrepreneur I meet, I have this conversation with one-on-one people that are my friends.
Yeah.
And I do it in my business seminars too. And I show people, I do business boot camps, and I spend 5 days showing them how to grow their business 100% plus. And then I take a half a day and show them what to do to have a second business. Here's what I'd say to you if you're a founder out there, if you're somebody starting an organization. The amount of money that you get, whatever cash you have, if it's a growing business, will always be eaten up by the organization. So a friend of mine, Ken Blanchard, who wrote the 1 Minute Manager books you may have read years ago, I met him 30 years ago, and I helped him take 5 strokes off his golf game, so he thought I was God. And I don't play golf. I just know what to do here and here with somebody. And so afterwards, he goes, I want to do something for you. I said, look, you don't do anything. About 2 months later, he calls me up and says, I want to have lunch with you. I want to give you a gift. He said, I want to share with you the best financial advice that changed my life. So what is it? He said, this very wealthy friend of mine saw I was writing a book, and he saw I was growing my business, and he said, I want to tell you something. A business, he said what I told you earlier, will take whatever cash is there, because a growing business, there's always needs.
Yeah.
He said, you have to draw a line in the sand. And he said, your book should be the first line in the sand. You should put none of that money in your company. The clients that like the book will become clients of the company, and you shouldn't take that money. You should put in an investment account that you don't touch, and it continues to compound to create financial freedom. He said, Tony, I took his advice, and then I went through 3 different stages where we almost went bankrupt in the business because I had so much cash and money, I wasn't stressed. So I was able to keep my head straight and run my business better. Because if you think about it, and I did that too. I did it with my first books. Now I give away all the profits of my books. My first books and my first infomercials.
Yes.
And I worked, 275 days a year on the road. I never earned as much as I did by compounding, because compounding changes the game. So what you have to do if you're a business owner, you have to get yourself where you say, I'm going to put a tax on my business.
Yep.
Not the government tax, my tax. My future self is going to be free forever. Because look, in business, 96% of businesses don't make it in 10 years. I'm sure all of yours will, but even the 4% that make it aren't necessarily profitable. So, and the reason is because government can change the rules, right? Taxes can shift radically affected. Clients shift their preferences, technology, new competition. Yeah. So I tell everybody, I believe you'll make your business succeed, but everybody should have a business on the side with no employees, no moving parts, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes a year to rebalance it, so that if anything happens here, you're still strong and you can make this stronger. Or if this goes well and this goes well as well, you have twice as much money and you're there. But you gotta understand what this compounding does, right? This compounding, you don't need a lot of money to get really, really wealthy. One of the examples I put in the book here was the example of a man who talks to his son. He's 18 years old, and the man understands finance and understands the power of compounding. So he says to his son, you got your first job, you're 18. I'm gonna require that you take $300 every month, $150 a paycheck, and we're gonna automate it to this separate account. And his son's like, I can't do that. He goes, let me tell you why you wanna do it. It'll be up to you. If you promise to do that and you really do it and you automate it so you don't see it, and you do that for 8 years, you'll never have to invest again and you'll be financially set for life. His son goes, come on, Dad. 8 years, $300 a month, what is that? As he does the math, he goes, that's $28,000, over 8 years, $28,800. $28,800, how's that gonna do anything? Especially if I don't add any more money after 27 years old. He goes, let me show you, son. The market's gone up 10% over 30 years. Let's apply a lower number, let's do 8%, be conservative. Let me show you what the numbers are when they compound. You know how much he has when he retires? $1.8 million, and all he put in was $28,800.
You need to have a financial plan or you're gonna end up broke. This happens to so many entrepreneurs. You're putting everything you've got back into your business, which is not that bad a strategy, to be honest, because at least you're getting the compounding on your business. But a lot of what happens is you end up super cash poor, and if anything happens to your company, you're screwed. All of that work that you put in, all the money that you put in, all the investments you put in, you've got nothing. You've got no backup plan. And this flies in the face a little bit of the go all in, have no plan B, no backup plan, don't give yourself an option, burn the boats. But having a financial plan that allows you to be safe, be comfortable, have that nest egg in the future is really, really, really important. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've met who are so focused on building their business, and then when you ask them about their own financial plans and their investments and what they're doing, it's nothing. They have no plan. If their business goes away, they're completely out of luck. They're completely screwed. And so you need to start having that financial plan so that you don't end up with a major loss or being 60 and having nothing to fall back on. I think it's important to get started now. So here's how I do it. When I'm looking at my projects, I want to spend 40% as a maximum on operations. So everything is based off of revenue. And this video is going to get a little more technical than I usually do. So let me know if you like it in the comments below. When I'm looking at my budgeting, Nina and I look at this every month. So Nina's in charge of my operations. She's in charge of all the bank accounts. She's in charge of all the payments. She keeps a tight ship running. When I look at my revenue numbers, my operational budget is 40% of revenue. So to make this video, right, to make my YouTube channel happen, for my editing team, for my research team, for my thumbnail team, for my gear, for my salary, all of that stuff has to be 40% max of the revenue. And so at the beginning, if it's just you, then don't start spending too far ahead of the curve, right? I hate spending money until I'm making money. So these numbers can still apply. You can come up with your own version of it, but the numbers still apply no matter how much revenue you're making. You just stop spending more than you're making. That's a great start at the beginning. So many entrepreneurs are looking for ways to spend money. Stop spending money until you're making money. That's the first great bit of financial advice. I would put in, and still do for a new project, I put in my time, my energy, my hustle, my heart, but not my money until I'm making money. So once you're making the money, even a little bit of money, you're making $100, right? 40% goes towards operations. So you gotta buy a camera, and the camera costs you $100. That's a pretty cheap camera, but still, whatever. Then you have to wait till you have $400 in revenue, right? So you have your revenue, and then 40% goes to operations. At least for me, you can adjust these numbers for your own business. 25% for me goes to advertising, marketing, any promotional expenses. So that would also include travel in the past. I'm not traveling right now because of COVID, but that would include my travel. That would include any conferences that I was going to where I wasn't getting paid to go, and I had to cover my own flight and my own hotel. So anything that's related to advertising, to marketing, that would be within 25%. So I have an advertising budget, and this was actually hard for me to start spending money as my business grew, because I'm still in the mindset of I'm the entrepreneur who ate beans for lunch every day because I was making $300 a month. And so the idea of spending thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing every day it seems crazy. It seems crazy. Anyway, I had to get over it. I still struggle with it, but we're getting there. So having the budget helps me, right? Having the budget to spend money helps me. So 40% is operations, 25% is advertising, marketing, 10% is savings. So we take 10% of whatever I made, whatever the cash flow is coming in, and we put that away. And so that's where then I'm investing. That's the Tony Robbins compounding strategy. I invest half of it into an index fund that tracks the Canadian stock market. So half of my money just basically tracks the Canadian stock market. The fees are super low on it, and it's a way better return than you'll get on a mutual fund. And then the other half right now is mixed between Facebook and Amazon. So I'll take more of a flyer on half the money, and then the other half will be much more safe, just put into an index fund. So 10% of whatever I make in the business goes towards savings and investments. 5% goes towards giving away. So my wife, Nina, also loves to help and loves to support other people, just like I do. And in my book, Built to Serve, I talked about one of the biggest things I missed when I was looking through what makes Nina happy is being able to help other people and donate to causes. So we created a fund where 5% of what we make goes towards helping people. And she gets to pick. That might be a charity, that might be a dog rescue, that might be someone in her family, that might be supporting somebody that she knows, that might be somebody who's going through a hard time and she's going to help them out, that might be contributing to the education fund of her nieces or nephews. Like, that changes every month. So every month we get a budget. 5% of whatever we make goes towards supporting the people in our lives, and she gets to be in charge of that. We just make sure that it adds up to a max of 5%. And that's great. Again, we weren't doing enough of that in the past, and 5% may not seem like a big number, but even if you're making $1,000 and you spend $50 on somebody, by giving, it makes you feel more full. It makes you feel more energetic, more optimistic, more positive, more happy. And $50 is enough. $50 could make a big difference for somebody. If somebody helped you in your business, in your life, and you get 5 people $10 gift cards with a handwritten note to say thank you, that can make a big difference. That'll make you feel really good. And that energy will translate into more growth in your life and in your business. So having that 5%, especially for Nina, I give my time. I give my time. So I'll speak at events for free. I'll coach people for free. I like to give my time. That's my giving. Nina's finding ways to give our money. And she gets to pick causes that are important to her. So it's very rarely kind of entrepreneurial causes. It's more charities that are close to her, or family or friends or people in our lives that she just wants to help. So 40% towards operations, 25% towards marketing, advertising, 10% towards savings, 5% towards helping other people, and then the rest is towards new projects. So if I'm launching something new and I want to put some investment in, this is another one that's been difficult for me to overcome because, again, I hate spending money till I'm making money. And so now we're at the point where my time is more valuable than my money. At the beginning, it was the flip. At the beginning, I'm making $300 a month. I have no money. It's just really hard. And so I'm just putting all of my time in. Now the time becomes a lot more valuable. And so I'm spending a little bit ahead of the curve. And again, having that budget helps me do it. For me, pulling 10% aside to save was the easiest part. The spending on the sales and marketing, the spending on the operations, the spending on the new projects, the spending on the giving away was the thing I needed more help with. And as I do those things, it allows me to get more of the results that I want. And so that's my financial plan as of right now. And we'll make some tweaks and some changes and minor adjustments along the way, but it's super important that you have one. And even if you're, again, making $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, the percentages can still apply. Because when you can say, hey, I'm only gonna spend 40% of my revenue on operations, it forces you to be more resourceful. People complain about lack of resources. I don't have enough money to do what I wanna do. I don't have enough team members to do what I wanna do. And as long as you're stuck in the complaining mode of not having enough resources, you'll never win. Entrepreneurship is always about resourcefulness much more than resources. What can you do with what you do have? And when you have those strict rules to say, I'm only gonna spend 40% on operations, I am going to save 10% of what I make every month, even though it may not seem like big numbers yet, right now, it can make a huge, huge, huge difference for you to, one, start to build the discipline into it, but then also allow for the compounding impact everywhere. Because if you're saving 10% every month, that will compound itself up. But if you're giving away 5% or whatever number works for you every month, that has a compound impact as well. for yourself, for your momentum, for the people in your life. If you're investing into advertising for 25%, that has a compounding impact as well, because they may not recognize you after the first thing that they see, after the first marketing campaign. But if you stick around, right, all of these things add up. And we're spending, I think, way too much time, one, just buying stupid things that don't matter, but also investing into the operations of our business instead of being more resourceful to find ways to make things happen. So create that financial plan. Give yourself the best shot at a happy life, at a successful business, and a financially free future with money in your bank account. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action to do something in the next week? When you just watch something and get inspired, the science says you have a 35% chance of following through. But when you create an actual action plan around it, you have a 91% chance of following through. And I want that to be you, Believe Nation. And then when you commit to others and have some accountability, like you can in the comment section right here, you increase your chances of following through to 95%. So I want you to follow through. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Put it down below so I can celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more self-belief and self-confidence, I have designed a free training just for you, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you an unlisted video, absolutely free, to your email to slowly shift your self-confidence and self-belief forward. To join for free, check the link in the description below.
If you want to change your life, my friends, you got to change your physiology and you got to change your focus.
The very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I want to get my head right. I do this thing called priming.
Today, what creates marketing is when you don't just market, but you add value to people.
If you buy a business, if you buy a farm, you go up and look, every couple of weeks to see how far the corn is up, and you worry too much about whether somebody says this is going to be a year of low prices because exports are being affected or anything like that. You buy a farm and you hold it for. I've got one farm that I bought in the 1980s, and my son runs it, but I've been there once. I mean, it doesn't grow faster if I go and stare at it. I can't cheer for it. More effort, or something like that. And I know there's going to be some years when prices are going to be good and some when the prices aren't going to be good. I know there's years when yields will be better than others. But I bought the farm, and if it just doesn't. I don't care about economic predictions on it or anything of the sort. I do care that over the years it's well tended to in terms of rotating crops, and I hope yields get better, which they generally have. In fact, that farm 100 years ago would have probably produced 30 bushels, maybe 35 bushels of corn per acre. And now in a good year, it'd be 200. I mean, we've really made progress in this country. That's one reason commodity prices, if you go back a couple hundred years, they've moved so little, is because we've just gotten better and better at whether it's cotton or whether it's corn or soybeans or all kinds of things. And you and I have benefited from that.
And so Apple is kind of like a farm.
Well, it's a long-term investment, and if you own the best auto dealership in town, the best brand, and you had somebody good running it, you wouldn't drop by every day and say, how many people have come in today, or I think interest rates are going up a little, maybe it'll slow down our sales or anything. No, you buy it knowing there's 365 days a year, and you're going to own it for 20 years, so that's 7,300 days, and things are going to be different from day to day and year to year. You shouldn't buy it if the day-to-day stuff is important.
If you want another awesome Tony Robbins clip, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Everybody needs to create a money machine.
This is what I think a lot of people make a mistake on diversification.